Buckle up, everyone, because today we're diving headfirst into a legal battle that's sending shockwaves through the world of crypto.
Oh yeah, this one's a biggie.
We're talking about Crypto.com, one of the biggest names in the crypto exchange game, taking on the might of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, better known as the SEC.
And that's not something you see every day.
Right. Like Crypto.com is going head-to-head with the top dogs of financial regulation.
And it's not just about Crypto.com either. This whole thing shines a light on a huge question.
Which is?
How on earth are governments supposed to regulate this whole new universe of digital assets? It's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, you know?
A total mismatch. And that's exactly what we're going to untangle today. Now, some of you listening might be thinking, okay, so Crypto.com is in a legal brawl with the SEC. Why should I care?
Fair question.
But here's the thing. What happens in this case could actually set the playbook for how all kinds of new tech are regulated in the future. We're talking everything from AI to maybe even those space elevators we've all been hearing about.
It's true. Crypto is like the testing ground.
Exactly. So let's break down the basics here. First up, the SEC. What are they all about?
In the simplest terms, think of them as the referees of the financial world. They're there to make sure everyone's playing by the rules and to protect investors like you from getting scammed.
They're the rule makers, the ones who set the boundaries.
And they play a crucial role. When investors have confidence in the markets because the rules are clear, everyone wins.
Right, stability is key.
But when you've got a brand new technology like crypto that's evolving faster than the speed of light, those rules need to keep up, and that's where things get messy.
Yeah, because crypto doesn't really play by the traditional rule book.
Not at all.
So picture this. Crypto.com gets slapped with something called a Wells notice from the SEC.
Oh.
Yeah, not a good sign. In the financial world, a Wells notice is basically a yellow card. It's a warning shot that says, hey, we're watching you, and we might be coming for you.
It's a big deal, especially in an industry as jumpy as crypto.
Totally. And it doesn't just create uncertainty for the company involved, it ripples out and makes the whole market nervous.
Investors don't like uncertainty.
Nope, not one bit. And get this, Crypto.com isn't just taking this lying down. They're fighting back with a lawsuit of their own.
Now that's interesting.
Right. This isn't even the first time a crypto heavyweight has decided to go toe-to-toe with the SEC. Earlier this year when Coinbase, another major player, filed a similar lawsuit.
Oh yeah, big news.
Clearly something's brewing here. It feels like there's a real sense of frustration building up, maybe even a little defiance.
Absolutely. And the fact that it's multiple companies pushing back suggests there's a bigger issue at play.
Like a systemic problem.
Exactly. The crypto world is essentially saying, look, we're happy to follow the rules, but you got to make them clear, make them consistent, and for crying out loud, make them fair.
Here. So let's get into the weeds a bit. What exactly is Crypto.com arguing in this lawsuit?
Well, their case boils down to three main points.
Hit me with them.
Okay, so number one, they're saying the SEC is being way too vague about which rules apply to which crypto assets.
It's like trying to play a game without knowing all the rules.
That's a great analogy. Imagine trying to build a business, attract investors, and actually innovate when you're not even sure what the rules are going to be tomorrow. That's what a lot of folks in the crypto space are dealing with.
Talk about a recipe for disaster. Okay, point number two.
So their second point is that the SEC is basically overstepping, acting like they have the authority to regulate everything under the sun in the crypto world.
Kind of like they're playing Big Brother.
A little bit, yeah.
Huh.
And Crypto.com is pushing back hard against that. They're saying, hold on, not all digital assets are created equal.
Makes sense. So they shouldn't be treated the same.
Exactly. It's more nuanced than that.
Okay, so what's the third big argument?
Their third point is all about fairness. Crypto.com is calling out the SEC for what they see as playing favorites, treating certain crypto assets differently from others.
Like, what do you mean by that? Give me an example.
Well, they point to Bitcoin and Ethereum, for instance.
The big dogs.
Right. Those two seem to get a different, maybe more lenient treatment compared to some others, like XRP, and that doesn't sit well with them.
No, that does seem a little unfair. So it sounds like we've got a real showdown brewing here. The fast-paced, often unpredictable Wild West of crypto clashing with the more traditional established world of financial regulations.
It's a classic David versus Goliath story, and the outcome could have huge implications for everyone involved. You know what's really interesting about this whole thing?
What's that?
It's not just about some obscure financial rules, this case gets at something much bigger.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
It's about how we as a society deal with new technologies, especially ones that could completely change the game. Like, how do we regulate something that's still in its infancy but has the potential to turn entire industries upside down?
Right, because if we put too many fences around crypto before it's even had a chance to grow, are we going to miss out on some amazing innovations down the line?
Exactly. Think about the early days of the internet.
Okay, yeah, good point.
If regulators back then had tried to slap the same old rules on websites and e-commerce as they did on regular stores, who knows what we'd be missing out on today.
True, it'd be a completely different world.
Yeah.
So are we saying that by over-regulating crypto, we're potentially blocking innovations that we can't even imagine yet?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
And this isn't just theoretical, right? It's not just about some abstract future. This stuff affects people in their everyday lives,
100%. Think about it. Let's say you use some kind of financial app, right?
which, let's be real, most of us do these days.
Exactly. You're using it to invest your money, send some cash to a friend, even just grab your morning coffee. The outcome of this Crypto.com case could actually determine what kind of financial tools are available to you in the future and how much those services cost.
Wow, okay, so this is getting real.
It is. This is about striking a balance. We need to protect investors, of course, but we also need to make sure that innovation isn't getting stifled.
Finding that sweet spot is tricky, though.
Tell me about it. And this case throws another wrench in the works. It highlights how hard it is to apply these traditional financial rules to something like crypto, which is designed to be decentralized.
Right, because with crypto, you don't have those usual intermediaries like banks or brokers calling the shots. So how do you regulate a system that's built to be, well, kind of ungovernable?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Seriously. So where do we go from here? What are the options?
Well, there are definitely different schools of thought on this.
Like what?
On the one hand, you've got people saying that crypto absolutely needs to be regulated, brought under the same umbrella as traditional finance to protect investors and prevent scams.
Which, let's be real, scams are a real problem in the crypto space.
Oh, absolutely. But then on the other hand, you've got people saying over-regulation is going to kill the very thing that makes crypto so revolutionary.
So it's like walking a tightrope.
Exactly. Too much regulation and you risk squashing innovation, too little and you've got chaos.
And everyone loses.
Exactly. And to make things even more complicated, crypto isn't just one thing, right? You've got all these different types of digital assets, each with its own purpose and its own level of risk. So trying to lump them all together under one giant regulatory umbrella probably isn't the best approach.
Okay, so let's break that down a bit. You mentioned earlier that the SEC is treating some crypto assets differently from others.
Right.
Can you give us some real-world examples of what that actually looks like in practice?
Sure. Take Bitcoin, for instance. It's generally seen as more decentralized than some other cryptocurrencies because no one entity controls it.
Right.
Now, the legal status of Bitcoin varies from country to country,
Of course.
but the SEC has generally said that Bitcoin isn't a security, which means it doesn't face the same level of scrutiny as some other digital assets.
Interesting. So what about Ethereum? That's another big one.
Right. Ethereum, now that's an interesting one because it's not just a cryptocurrency, it's a platform for all sorts of decentralized applications.
Right. I've heard of that.
And there's been a lot of debate about how to regulate it.
I bet.
The SEC has hinted that it doesn't see Ether, the cryptocurrency of the Ethereum platform, as a security.
Okay.
But, and this is a big but,
Oh.
they've also said that some tokens sold through those initial coin offerings,
ICOs?
right, ICOs, on the Ethereum platform, those might be considered securities, depending on how they were marketed and sold.
Oh, wow. So there are a lot of nuances here, a lot of gray areas.
Tons. It's definitely not as black and white as saying all crypto is good or all crypto is bad.
So much depends on the context.
Exactly. It all comes down to the specific asset, what it's supposed to do, and how it's all structured.
This is why this case is so fascinating.
Yeah.
It's making us really grapple with these complicated questions head on.
It's true, and it's pushing us to have a more nuanced conversation about regulating these new technologies.
It's bigger than just crypto, isn't it?
Way bigger.
It's about the future of innovation as a whole.
100%. The choices we make today about regulating these technologies will echo for years to come.
New pressure, right?
Right. It's about finding a balance. Protect consumers, keep the market stable, but also let these technologies flourish and reach their full potential.
Which is no easy feat.
Not at all. And, with all this talk about the downsides of too much regulation, we can't forget about the risks of not having enough.
That's true. What happens if we just let things run wild in the crypto space?
Well, for starters, it creates an environment where scams can thrive.
We've already seen that happening, though.
Exactly. And without clear rules, it's like the Wild West out there. Investors get burned, they lose trust, and the whole industry suffers.
It's a tough situation all around.
It really is. Too much regulation can stifle things, but too little can create chaos.
Finding that middle ground, that sweet spot, is crucial.
Absolutely. And that's what makes this crypto.com case so interesting to watch.
It's like a case study in real time.
Exactly. We're seeing how this all plays out right before our eyes. And this debate, this back and forth, it's not going away anytime soon.
Especially with crypto evolving so quickly.
Exactly. But with all this talk about regulations and legal battles and uncertainty, you might be wondering, is there even a future for crypto?
Right. Is it all just too risky?
It's a question a lot of people are asking.
I bet. So what's the answer?
Well, if you ask me, one thing's for sure. Crypto has already shaken things up in ways that nobody could have predicted just a few years ago.
It's like the genie's out of the bottle.
Exactly. Crypto is here to stay in some form or another. The question is, what role will it play in the future of finance? And how will regulations adapt to keep up with this constantly changing landscape?
And that's where things get really interesting.
You got that right. This lawsuit, and others like it, they could have a ripple effect far beyond just the world of crypto.
So it's like we're witnessing the birth of a whole new era in finance.
Absolutely. And the rules are being written as we speak.
Which is exciting.
And a little terrifying.
True, true. But hey, that's what makes this whole thing so fascinating, right?
That's right.
Okay, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's take a second to recap what we've learned so far about this whole Crypto.com versus SEC battle royale.
Good idea.
So it seems like the core issue is this fundamental disagreement about how to regulate a technology that throws so many traditional financial ideas out the window.
Right. Crypto.com, along with some other big names in the industry, they're saying, look, we need clearer guidelines, more consistent enforcement, and a system that recognizes that not all crypto is created equal.
They're basically saying, hey, SEC, work with us here, not against us.
Exactly. It's like they're saying, give us a fighting chance to build the future of finance, but give us some clear rules to play by.
Because right now, it seems like the rule book is a bit of a moving target.
A bit. It's more like trying to hit a bullseye on a roller coaster.
Okay, that's a way better analogy.
It's all about finding that balance, you know?
Right.
Protecting investors is crucial, of course, but we also don't want to crush innovation before it even has a chance to take off.
It's a tightrope walk for sure.
Tell me about it. And this case is just the tip of the iceberg, you know? It's a sign of things to come.
So as much as I hate to bring this up, let's talk about the average person for a second.
Okay.
The person who maybe isn't glued to the latest crypto news, but who still uses technology and relies on the financial system every single day.
Most of us, right?
Exactly. How does all of this whole Crypto.com and the SEC showdown, how does it affect them?
Well, it might not seem like it at first glance, but the outcome of this case and others like it could have a ripple effect that touches everyone.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Think about it. It could impact everything from the types of financial products and services available
Right.
to the fees we pay
Yeah.
to the level of security and transparency we can expect.
So whether you're all in on crypto,
Or just dipping your toes in.
or even if you think of Bitcoin as something you order at a drive-thru,
This case matters.
it's about more than just some digital currency.
Way more. It's about the future of innovation, the relationship between governments and new technologies, and ultimately our role as citizens in shaping that future.
Wow. Okay, so no pressure or anything.
Right. But seriously, the decisions being made today in courtrooms, in government buildings, heck, even online, they're going to have a huge impact for years to come.
It's like we're at a crossroads.
We are. And it's up to all of us to stay informed, stay engaged, and don't be afraid to ask the tough questions.
Because if we don't ask those questions, who will?
Exactly.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with a few of those tough questions to chew on.
Okay, hit me.
What do you think? Should crypto be embraced as this revolutionary force for good?
Or should it be brought under the control of traditional finance?
Or maybe there's a third option, something completely new.
Right. A whole new approach.
How do we balance fostering innovation with protecting everyday people, especially with something as new and fast-moving as crypto?
These are the million-dollar questions, folks.
And there are no easy answers, but they're questions worth thinking about.
Absolutely. The future's being written right now, and it's up to all of us to decide what it looks like.
We hope this deep dive is giving you the info and the inspiration to join that conversation.
Yeah, keep asking those tough questions.
And on that note, thanks for joining us on this incredible journey into the heart of the crypto universe.
It's been a wild ride.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep exploring the ever-evolving world of crypto.